The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
Good afternoon. Well, the good news is the Bee Gees are where they should be. They're still standing, Norman's still sitting, and George is still leaning on his lamppost, so everything's fine. Inflation's gone down. Were you at that meeting last night at Arbury Parish Hall? Residents from the south have accused the DOI of taking everyone's rights away. It came where members of the department met members of the community to discuss the path at Ballacannel. Historically, residents have been able to use it as a path to pass through by foot, vehicle, even on horse, but the department believes it just isn't one, as it doesn't exist on the definitive map. Were you there? Did you make any sense of it? How did it go last night? First of all, Howard's with us. Hi, Howard.
Hello, Andy. I couldn't believe my eyes when I looked at your headline, the news this morning. The Isle of Man Transport confirms why the horse trams weren't running on Monday.
I know.
When we had that large cruise ship in.
Yeah.
One of their reasons that they said at the bottom, we are operating a slightly reduced timetable from those prior to the promenade refurbishment, we know that, project, due to operational reasons. This helps to reduce the cost and gives our hard-working trammers a well-deserved day off. Now, how ridiculous is that? We've got a tourist industry here, and one of the main features of the tourist industry on the promenade is the horse trams. And they knew there was a damn big liner coming in with 2,000 people on it. And obviously, even if a fraction of those people on there wanted to travel on the trams, it would have been beneficial. But no, the clowns that were down on the transport, and I suppose the Department for Non-Enterprise, had a hand in it somewhere, and they've never ran, because it's Monday, it's their day off. Well, surely they could have gave the horses double hay and, got them to come out. There's another horse whisperer within the group there that can talk to the horse and say, we got stuck, boys. We got a big boat in the bay. Any chance of you doing a couple of trips up and down? But no, they just didn't run them when one of the main vessels of the season, one of the largest vessels of the season, was in Douglas. Now, it beggars belief that they're trying to run the tourist industry, and then other people are saying, let's get another 500,000 people here as tourists, and they shut the damn places down.
And also to use the horses as an excuse, and talking about hard-working trammers and what have you. We all know how hard the horses work, and we all know that they've got a certain amount of work to do. But surely this is not the horses haven't sent a strongly worded letter to the examiner. It's for Isle of Man Transport to sort it out.
Well, I think they're just sitting down there, twiddling their thumbs, looking at computers, playing games and whatnot, and the horse trams, it's Monday, it's a day off today, let the boys have a lie-in and put them up Blackberry Lane for a little bit of R&R. But that's what they're there for, and they're only doing the short season, and we all know that they're well looked after. The lads look after them. So it's somebody in the hierarchy that's failed to do their job properly, because you can't say that this cruise line has suddenly popped up out of the blue.
Well, at some point, Howard, somebody will have told somebody else, and somebody will have said to that other person, look, we've got 2,000 people coming in on the biggest liner we've ever had, and somebody somewhere has just said, well, never mind. Yeah.
Well, there's another one in, I think it was yesterday.
That's right, the Saga cruiser, Yeah,
and they were boasting at the beginning of the season, we got 63 vessels coming in. And, okay, a lot of them, they hurt the groon, the little ones, and they come in, but they're still carrying people. And I was in the street on Monday when that ship was in. Okay, miserable day. It's not the best of days to come. But there were a lot of people walking through the street off that vessel. And, of course, I don't know if they were, but I saw two coaches of Tours Isle of Man coming in back into Douglas later on in the day, and I'm assuming and I'm hoping that they were carrying people off the cruise ship, taking them around to the various places. And but what a ridiculous statement from a government office. And somebody that's sitting in that office should be put out to grass somewhere with the horses that they had to give the day off, because I've never heard anything so childish in my life that our hard-working trammers a well-deserved day. Damn it, they're working horses.
Well, if you notice nowadays, Howard, nobody ever just works. People either are hard-working or working incredibly hard. Nobody just works nowadays.
Well, as I say, obviously the person that was doing the work on planning was not one of them. It wasn't incredibly hard. It wasn't even work, and I think they had a stale brain day, and they were just sitting at the desk
All right.
Monday morning feeling.
Okay.
But somebody should answer a question on that, because not only was it not running from the end of the promenade, which was intended, and as we say, it's in Hansard, they didn't even run at all.
Okay. All right, Howard.
Take care.
Good to hear
Bye
from
now.
you. Thanks for that. Actually, we can put that question. It's going to be a couple of weeks' time. But Tim Crookall, who's the political member in Enterprise and also the chief exec of Visit Isle of Man, Deborah Heather's going to be on Mannin Line in the first week of September. So we'll find out. Obviously, Deborah Heather wouldn't have made that decision regarding giving the trammers the day off. But she is in charge of Visit Isle of Man, what you'd call the old tourist board. And having the world's really only horse trams not running on a day you have a 2,000 passenger liner come to... well, somebody somewhere made the decision. Vivian's with us now. Hi, Vivian.
Hi, Andy. By the way, I agree with what Howard said. I just couldn't believe it when I heard it on the radio. But that's not what I rang you for.
Okay.
These public rights of way.
Yeah.
Now, I'm getting pretty long in the tooth, so I have got a long memory as well. Used to be, I lived in the countryside in the north. We had lots of public rights of way. Now, to keep a public right of way closed, one day a year, the gates had to be locked. That was always the ruling of it. And in the 1980s, I think it was, they did an all-island public rights of way court that signified what was what and what not. I only know all about that one because my mother, who was born down at the Cullen, there was a public right of way there, and she was asked to do a letter to say that had always been a right of way down to the shore.
Right, and that was the 1980s, you reckon? You can't be any more specific, can you?
A public inquiry work, if I looked and found that. I still got the letter somewhere that she got, but it's a case of, but that was always the ruling. It had to be, there was one down at the Gary, this house is built on it now, on the riverside, and the man that lived there locked that gate one day a year, that's all, and then it didn't make it a legal right of way. But of course, the generations today wouldn't even know these old stories or rules or whatever they were.
Well, you would have thought somebody within the Department of Infrastructure would have known about this.
They're not old enough.
Maybe they should be looking at the records. Okay, thanks, Vivian.
That's all right. Bye.
Good to talk to you. David's with us now on Mannin Line. Hi, David.
Hi, Randy. Vivian's quite right, and I'm not that old yet, Vivian. I'll just tell you quickly, too, I just wonder what's happening with the public footpath at Williston Crescent that goes over Johnny Watson's Lane, but that's what I'll come on to. Let's see if the new minister does something about it. But now we're shareholders of the steam packet, Andy, aren't we?
We are.
I just can't believe we've got £11 million. We made £11 million, I think it was. There was no copper in there or bits and pieces, but what are we going to do with that? Are we going to have to wait till Timble comes back before they use something about it? Are we going to put it in a bond? Are we going to use it to the landing stage? Can we do that? and then save ourselves actually expending more money out on something which we haven't got at the minute.
I just wonder as well, because I know it was mentioned when John Moss did some programmes around the Summerland anniversary about tourism on the Isle of Man. They had somebody on from Scotland saying, they're Caledonian McBrain, they're publicly owned, aren't they, in Scotland?
Yeah.
And they give discounted tickets, a certain number of discounted tickets to people, so many tickets per year because it's publicly owned. Now, bearing in mind the steam packet is ours, maybe it's the time to start giving people discounted tickets. Maybe 3 or 4 foot passenger tickets a year, free. Yeah. Subject to availability.
Yeah, what we could do is, remember when all the locals will go across for football when it starts in a couple of weeks' time?
Yeah.
Well, started in the UK now. You can give them a discount ticket. Maybe these organisations that come on and have trips out, they can give them the discount. But the other thing I was going to say to you, Andy, what is the housing division, or what they're called now, these people that won't come on, what are they making any money? Or are they just costing us money? From what I can see is they're only costing us money. This Quango organisation is just taking shareholders, they're not shareholders as such, they're just taking money from the government pot and using it.
Oh, the Manx Development Corporation.
Yeah, and maybe Mr. Cannon now should say to the corporation, why aren't you going on Manx Radio? Give them some public information that people need to know what's happening, what they're doing. We've got all we'll go through them quickly. 2 pubs, the QB and the one down Bowling Green. We've got the prison site, we've got Summerland site, we've got the old school at Park Road, and we've got the down by the Lord Street there, the car park thing. We've got loads of property there. The government or the taxpayers are they're keeping custodial charge of them.
And I'm presuming that the the old Lord Street School, the one that's next to the Salvation Army Citadel.
Yeah, well, that was going to be gone as well, but I don't know what's happened there.
Well, I mean, the Salvation Army has been bought. It's going to be turned into a hotel. Now, that's right next to that old Lord Street School, which has got certain government offices. It's a lovely offices inside, but I do think they're a bit big for the number of people inside. So they're a bit dated. There's some prime real estate there, right on Lord Street as well, next to a new hotel. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not going to keep on badgering the Manx Development Corporation. They're perfectly welcome to come on Mannin Line and just present their credentials and just say what they're at. We just want to know. We'd just really like to know what their plans are for the future. I'm sure they've got some plans.
Yeah, and what are we going to do with this 11 million? What's the public want to do with it? Do we want to have little discount vouchers throughout the year or whatever, or do something with it, or say, instead of using this government money for to complete the landing stage at Liverpool, use that?
It shows you one thing, though. I mean, it brings into sharp relief, David, the fact that, do you remember the people who used to own the steam packet, all the private companies, they were making a mint out of us.
Yeah. Yes, they were.
All right.
See you, mate.
All right, take care now. It's good to hear from you. A note in just says, the steam packet used to run Sail and Save. Do you remember Sail and Save? If you did 5 sailings, you got the average of what you'd spent taking off your next trip. They stopped it. When did Sail and Save go? They stopped it and promised to replace it with a new loyalty scheme, but it never happened. I'm trying to remember who owned it. It may have been Sea Containers that sold it by then to, who was the Australian bank? Macquarie Bank, the people who invested in infrastructure everywhere. Did it go when Macquarie took over Isle of Man steam packet? So yes, maybe they should bring back Sail and Save, as we made. It's actually £11.1 million, I think we made on the steam packet, and well done to everybody for doing that. Yes, I did mention that Tim Crocall and Deborah Heather are coming in from Department of Enterprise. Deborah Heather's Chief Executive, visit Isle of Man. Tim Crocall, one of the PLMHKs, is the political member. That's soon to come. Tomorrow, John Curtis and Andrew Lang and Newton are in Net Zero. show. Part 2 tomorrow. Andrew, of course, is the leader of the Green Party on the Isle of Man. John Curtis has got a company called Net Zero Matrix, which works. It's in the business of kind of sorting out net zero. So one person on the business side of it, one person on the political side, and you can have your say tomorrow as well. And next Tuesday, Tony Brown, former MHK, former Chief Minister, former many times Minister as well. Tony Brown's on Mannin Line. So the news is consumer inflation on the Isle of Man is at a 19-month low, standing at 5.8% for July, down from 6.9% the previous month. Food and non-alcoholic drinks are the biggest contributor, with pork seeing the highest rise of 34.6% compared to 12 months ago. Has bacon gone up that much? Essentials like electricity, eggs, sugar and butter, some of the biggest contributors, with electricity rising by as much as 34.8%. Restaurants and hotels hold the second largest increase, and alcohol and tobacco are in third. Meanwhile, oil and other fuels fell by the most, 27.5%, while petrol and gas also saw drops as well. 12 months comparison they were. So that's the story. Inflation, consumer inflation on the Isle of Man is at a big low, 19-month low. So well done to everybody involved on that. I've got to mention this was from Ursula. It was Ursula who's dropped a note in and said, Andy, you said that the Isle of Man Advanced Motorists is going out of business. Well, I don't know about going out of business. It's a charity. The Isle of Man branch of the charity, which aims to make people better drivers, looks set to close. We just got tipped off to this a wee while ago, but it's true, Ursula. We understand the Isle of Man Advanced Motorists and Motorcyclists Group will stop operating by the end of the month. The decision was made at an extraordinary general meeting, which was held at the end of July, with members who attended voting for closure following discussion of options. According to an email sent to members, the Manx Institute of Advanced Motorists, the decision was due to the group not being able to resolve a new committee after the board stepped down. Now, closure has been described as the only viable option, and it wasn't taken lightly. Any members under observation, awaiting tests or otherwise, will be able to complete their current courses and take the advanced driving test as planned. I just wonder, what do you think about this? Do you think nowadays, does anybody do you take an advanced driving test? Does it still give you a reduction if you have got an advanced driving test pass? Does it still give you or used to give you a reduction in motor insurance? A message. I'm waiting for a horse tram. I was waiting for a horse tram on Saturday. I ended up missing the MER to Ramsey because it never showed up. A member of staff told me there weren't enough horses to run the surface. I had to wait an hour for another tram. Not great, and I'll not be wasting my time waiting for a tram not to turn up, says David from Blackpool. Of course, it does. Yeah, it does fit in with the MER timetable quite a few. The 11.1 million the steam packets made. Wouldn't it be a good idea to spend it on more outdoor seating facilities outside the Sefton Hotel? This is Fran. Fran is obsessed with the Sefton Hotel. Fran, what's the seat of this this obsession with the Sefton Hotel, Fran? You're not a shareholder, are you? Hi to Graham as well. Here's an interesting one. My friend Tony tells me apparently that the wind turbine near Castle Donington Airport apparently appeared on their radar as a helicopter and caused lots of confusion. They got a court order to apparently have a wind turbine taken down near Castle Donington Airport. That's the one between Nottingham and Derby. Perhaps we should raise the issue with our airport authorities, says Graham. We wait and we see. I'd rather free buses before free boat trips. Nobody needs to get the boat, but people need buses for everyday tasks, including work. Well, it was calculated. I think it was Devon Watson, the Douglas councillor, who is a big fan of free public transport, who reckons that free buses on the Isle of Man will cost us £2 million. We just made 11.1 on the steam packet. No trams? Shocking. What tourism? Actually, it was 2,600 passengers, says John. Here's Dodsey now. Hi, Dodsey.
Hi, mate. Yeah, I just want to touch quickly on the advanced driving. There is no advanced driving groups on the island anymore, as far as I'm aware. In fact, as far as I'm aware, it's the smart IAM driving that have pulled out of the Isle of Man. I don't know if Rossborough are still doing advanced driving courses or anything like that, but they do recognise advanced drivers, and they do give a discount on advanced drivers and riders.
So Rossborough do?
I believe so. I'm not sure if they still do. If they still do lessons, or if they have. I know they recognise if you're an advanced driver or an advanced motorbike rider, but I'm not sure if they still do the advanced courses over here. Because I know the Smart Drive, which is a UK-based charity, I had an email recently from them because I'm a member of the Institute of Advanced Motoring for Smart Drive, and they pulled out, I think it was last month.
So you are a member. Have you passed an advanced driving test?
Not for the car side of things, but for motorbike I have.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Dodsey.
All right. Cheers. Thanks.
Good to hear from you. And Andrew's with us now. Hi, Andrew.
Hi, good morning. Or good afternoon. Just as an aside, if anybody sat at the Quarter Bridge and looked at everybody negotiating those roundabouts, you'd know why we don't need advanced driving, because everyone's perfect. But that's beside the point. Laxey has been coned off all the way from the railway station right through until to Queen's Hotel. No parking for the entire period of the Grand Prix.
Coned off?
All coned off. So all of the businesses from JJ Ribbons right through to Swales, dentist, accountants, kitchen place, my antique shop, Mother Teas, chemist, were stuffed for a fortnight for the throng of motorbike that will be here.
So were you told about this? Did you get a letter?
Oh, yes. They don't tell us. They just put it in the newspaper. They don't bother to negotiate with the proletariat because we're too low on the pecking order. But and we don't have a Chamber of Commerce. But they decide that for freedom of Isle of Man, bus Mannin, freedom of flow of the buses, that whilst the mountain road is closed, the Laxey has to be an urban clearway.
So where's everybody going to park? I mean, how far back up the hill do they have to park?
Well, there they go. I mean, they have to park in the back of the church. Possibly if there's any room down there.
That's 12 cars by the church, isn't it?
Oh yeah, they don't. I mean, they don't give us stuff. They do it every TT week. We have about 5 weeks. Well, 5 weeks of the year they put these stupid cones out. They put them out way in advance. They're out now because they don't have a chance to do it when the actual event begins. And then there used to be a policy where they were only out for rush hour, and the local authority would take them in and then put them back out again for the other end of the day. Bearing in mind the word rush hour in the Isle of Man is quite amusing. And then the police came along last year and said, no, you're not allowed to do that anymore. They've got to stay out permanently. So I've got no parking within 150 yards in either direction of my shop, and nobody else has all the way through Laxey because of the Grand Prix. And I'm sorry, and I don't want to rocket the boat with people here, but I didn't even know we had a Grand Prix last year. It was so quiet.
So what's the feeling like amongst the retailers and the businesses?
Well, we're frustrated by it because it's just for the sake of the mountain being closed. And it's much. When it was originally brought to me when I was the chairman of the local authority, they said it was for the free flow of emergency vehicles, which I can understand the logic of because there's a bottleneck by the tram station. But subsequently, we actually have it in writing that it was for the free flow of bus Mannin. Now, I think it's disgusting. Every retailer in the village is being badly affected by this. This isn't freedom to flourish. This is freedom to flounder. It's not fair, and it's not our fault the mountain road is closed, but we have a racetrack through there now because there's no cars to slow the lunatics down. So whereas they came round by the old bank and there were vehicles parked, they had to give way and slow down into the 20-mile-an-hour speed limit. Now when you have an urban clearway, it's free for all right through the village. So my customers will step out of my shop door into vehicles non-stop doing way over 20 miles an hour because there's no obstructions that parked there anymore outside the Granite Centre, outside Nicola Bowker's. They were like a homemade chicane to slow people down. Now it's gone.
So what do the commissioners say now? What do they say about it?
Well, the commissioners have objected to this over and over and over. But you communicate with the Department of Transport or Highways or whatever their name is this week. They just say, nah, that's what's happening. But the consultation is purely a paper exercise. We'll consult, give us your opinion. Thanks for your opinion. It's gone in the waste paper bin. We know for a fact they put a second disabled bay outside the Commissioner's office, which nobody wanted, nobody asked for, and they consulted everyone, and we said, put the disabled bay outside the dentists, where people have mobility issues who need to get to the dentists. No, it's going outside the commissioner's offices, but nobody wants it there. I know for a fact that every retailer on that road said, no, there's no need for it. No one will ever use it, and it will take up a customer parking space. They went ahead and did it and said, sorry, that's the decision we've made.
All right. Andrew, thanks for calling today. Good to hear from you.
Thank you.
Thanks
Bye.
again. 28 minutes before 1 on Manx Radio. If you're in Peel and you wonder what's going on, there's a regional sewage treatment exhibition. It's true, Manx Utilities are hosting a public exhibition of plans to explain the proposals to bring an end to the raw, unscreened sewage discharges into the sea and install first-time sewage treatment for Peel. Now, there's a public exhibition at the Centenary Centre today until 7 o'clock. It's public today till 7. Also, from 7 o'clock, there's local businesses will be invited for another hour just to chat about the whole thing. And tomorrow between 10 and 3, there's another public exhibition at the Centenary Centre for the Regional Sewage Treatment Exhibition in Peel. So the steam packets, £11.1 million. Here's the full story from Christian.
The figures show a good set of results exceeding pre-pandemic levels and putting up an almost 450% increase to profits in comparison to its 2021 loss. The report, which is expected to be laid before Tynwald when they return from summer recess, shows £11,080,551 profit. The year before had a more than £3.2 million loss. Meanwhile, separate operations from the group show accounts are back in the black by £14.5 million, bouncing back from its 2021 figure of a near £500,000 loss. Operating expenses incurred by the organisation see staff costs, including wages and salaries, of roughly £15.5 million, £1.2 million spent on repairs and maintenance, and almost £14 million on fuel. Revenue again sees large boosts in comparison to 2021, sitting at £72.2 million, with the majority of that figure being generated from passenger and freight.
Well, that's the story. So is it time to plough some of this back into the people who own it? Maybe give some cheap tickets, some discounted tickets, some free tickets. Perhaps a monthly lottery for free tickets. The old spirit of Jeff Corkish, a car plus two that Jeff always used to give away at charity dues. Well, we'll see, won't we? And just a quick note from, let me see here, this is the sound of weeping you can hear is from Manx Radio's accountant. You just mentioned that electricity has gone up by 34.8%. Remember, Manx Radio runs 39 kilowatts of transmitters. That's 22 bar fires running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And electricity up 34.8%. Crikey.
EPS just finished painting our house and we're delighted with the result.
Very impressed with the speed, quality and standard of work.
We would recommend EPS highly.
House looks like new.
Brilliant job from start to finish.
EPS, transforming properties island-wide with a revolutionary Protex wall covering system. Guaranteed for 10 years. Visit eps.company for details. There's a waiting list, but it'll be worth it.
A good job well done.
Thank you, EPS.
This summer, there's no limits to what you can do with Manx Telecom. Get unlimited calls, texts and data with unlimited speeds on island. And if you're spreading your wings, no worries. You can get 600 minutes, 600 texts and 6 gig roaming in the UK and EU as well. Check out manxtelecom.com/summer for details, terms and conditions, or call in store. Manx Telecom, the smart choice this summer.
Can you be sure your health and safety needs are covered? If not, do you have a good company lawyer? A training course for your staff with St John Ambulance could make a difference to someone's life in the workplace or beyond. Working and managing safely, risk assessment, fire marshal, moving and handling, and a whole raft of first aid courses are on offer. Discover how St John Ambulance can help keep your staff safe and keep you within the law by calling 674 387. That's 674 387 to help make a difference to someone's life.
Out and about this summer, EVF service stations have everything you need to make the most of it. Hot and cold food, chilled wine and beers, barbecue essentials and more. You can even pick up your lottery tickets at our stations across the island. Fill up, fuel up with Ellen Vannin Fuels. Visit us at evf.co.im. Stocks and offers may vary between locations.
Get ready for another winning weekend on Manx Radio.
And this weekend, you could win a 24-month Smart Unlimited tariff worth over £1,000 from Manx Telecom.
Visit manxradio.com and answer the competition question for your chance to win. You can enter as many times as you like.
Then make sure you're listening to Manx Radio Breakfast on Monday morning, when we'll be announcing the winner.
Make this your winning weekend with your nation station, Manx Radio.
The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
23 minutes before 1. Juan's on now. Hi, Juan.
Now, are you a hard-working radio presenter, Andy, or a radio presenter that's working hard?
I'm working incredibly hard. Have you noticed? No, everybody works incredibly hard nowadays.
Incredibly hard. I don't know how I cope. You know, and I thought you might have worked hard to go down the field at the agricultural show and give me that Mannin Line tea towel, and I'm still waiting. Mine's in bits, you know.
Whereabouts were you?
Oh, we're down the bottom of the field, right down the bottom. We're nearly on Peel Beach, actually.
Oh, you were in the trendy posh area down there, were you?
Is that what it is? The trendy posh area? It was noticeable on the Friday, actually, that there was a lot more adults spending cash. I think I mentioned it the other week. And I think this revival of talk about cash has actually triggered people into actually circulating cash more. And it's more noticeable. There's a lot more, less the children using cards, but a lot more people actually had cash in their pocket, which is, again, you know, to go on that point, it's just good that people are starting to realise that cash is important in our society, and I hope that people have gone onto the consultation paper and you know, put some thoughts in. And just going on from that, the announcement for the dates for this year's Isle of Man Government Conference at the Villa Marina, which is, I think, the 20th and 21st of September, is it, Andy?
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, and I made a specific point last year. In fact, I asked Alf Cannon on the radio, and I also asked Alf Cannon at the actual conference with the timings of it, who they were actually focusing the conference to, because most people were working. And I'm glad to see that this year they have actually put one of the days on, starting at 5 at night and going through till 9. So I'm just putting it out there to the local people. I mean, everyone that comes on and has their points on the Mannin Line about different things, and the people who are listening. This is the time to go and see these people and these chief executives in action and see them face to face. So take that 3 hours and put Emmerdale Farm on record and go down to the villa and have your say. And, you know, talk to these people, stop them, talk to them, see what's going on, because it ain't going to get any better.
Well, it's a good point, because whenever, you know, the government says we've done consultations, well, they'll certainly do consultations, but a consultation depends on how many people they consult with. And if you don't put yourself in the firing line, if you don't actually go and see somebody and look into the whites of their eyes and say, look, this is my point of view, this is what I want you to be aware of, then the consultation will come out, whatever you say, but you have your say.
Absolutely, totally. You know, and people now are, you know, there's a lot of disgruntlement, a lot of unhappiness about what's going on, and collectively, all these ministers and politicians and chief executives are all floating around that room, all on that day. So that's the day to go down there, take a couple of hours out. You might think, oh, it's boring, but go down there, find someone you want to have a word with, and ask them. because this is the time now to raise your voice, because I say it's not going to get any better, so this is the time to get your disgruntlements out there. And, I made the point last year about them changing the times, and they have done. Fair enough to them. They've changed them. So, it's down to the people now to take advantage of it.
OK, all right, Stuart.
Cheers, Andy.
Cheers. Now it's 19 minutes before 1. Big day tomorrow. Well, it's a big day on the Mannin Line because Andrew Langan Newton and John Curtis are on talking about Net Zero, our second programme. It got very interesting last time they were both on. So if you've got any points that you want to make, and gradually it's all coming into focus, really, what's going to happen on the Isle of Man. Is it going to be onshore wind, offshore wind? Of course, anaerobic digestion popped up yesterday. We've got solar proposals, solar panels on people's roofs. What's going to happen? Is the government putting our public money into this? Are we asking private companies to do it? The suggestion was made by Jason Morehouse that obviously Mr. Whittaker, the billionaire Mr. Whittaker lives at Billow Mansion, the head of the Peel Group. He's got the plans for a massive, I think it's something like 92,000 solar panels there, as a plan to put that on there. However, if the wind farm goes in the south, the electricity grid won't take both of them, so Mr. Whittaker's enormous solar farm that it goes to planning, I think, in September, will be kicked into touch because the wind farm is at Erie Stane. So, we'll find out as we get close. But also, tomorrow's a big day because it's results day, a number of results days throughout the summer period, depending on the exam board and type of qualification. But tomorrow, the 17th of August, it's A-level, B-Tech Level 3 and other Level 3 qualifications. And a week tomorrow, the IGSC, GCSE, Levels 1 and 2 qualifications as well. So, if you're involved in that, there's nothing you can do now, to be quite honest. Everything has been done. And what will be tomorrow, and certainly all the lecturers and the teachers, certainly the heads of sixth form, will be going full at it tomorrow to get everything sorted out for higher and further education. I don't know whether you're watching in the background that the World Health Organization's monitoring a new strain of COVID-19. It's called EG5. Sounds snappy, doesn't it? The Eris variant of COVID-19. There's a growing share of cases in China and the United States. The WHO has designated it a variant of interest. No. COVID-19 EG5. It couldn't, could it? It couldn't, could it?
Caterers, get ready for racing with Robinsons. Bulk buy and save. With our full range of food and drink supplies and everyday catering products, order for collection at Call Road or free delivery. Call 690000 or order online at robinsons.im.
When you need a fitting memorial or headstone for a loved one, contact Manx Memorials in Peel. This long-standing family-run Manx company offer a wide range of granite and marble headstones and memorials, along with an island-wide inscription and renovation service. Manx Memorials skilled professionals will take the time to help you choose a suitable memorial, and we're proud to say we'll beat other local quotes. Call 843 861 or email matthew@manxmemorials.co.uk.
No matter how much you need to dig, or how much you want to dump, Fox Group Isle of Man offer an extensive range of plant hire, long-term lease and sales. We're the island's exclusive supplier for Louis Gong excavators with immediate delivery. Our machinery comes with a complete service package with finance plan options. Call John on 458946 to discuss your plant needs. Fox Group Isle of Man, part of the Fox Group of companies.
Join Manx Radio's touring team this weekend at the Port Arran Beach Festival. We'll be on the beachfront with our frame game, where you could win one of two £50 vouchers to spend at Sorrel. So come along and see us and join in all the activities, including bouncy castles, aqua bikes, market stalls and Scruff's Dog Show. The fun starts from 10 at the Port Arran Beach Festival this Saturday with Manx Radio's touring team.
The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
It's 1:45. You can text, you can email, you can call, you can WhatsApp, whatever you want to do. Text in on 775 5. If you notice, it's being kept quiet about the airport under notice from the Civil Aviation Authority. It's an interesting read, and they should they fail the next review in December, then the airport could be shut down, says 775. And David said Isle of Man Transport say they don't run on a Monday, but they have run on a handful of Mondays this season already, so it's rubbish about the horses having Monday off. I think it's rubbish, that's David's words, by the way, rubbish management who treat taxpayers' money like they've won the lottery. Says David, this is the story about the biggest cruise liner ever to visit the Isle of Man on Monday, and our once in a world, only in the world, horse trams weren't running on Monday. Any thoughts on this? If Laxey is to be an urban clearway, then why are there no cones on the Ramsey Road and the 5 builders' vans on Pinfold Hill that are blocking the road without any traffic lights? Says Fran. I wonder why that is, Fran. Maybe you know, Fran. I think you do. I heard in Peel that people who don't want a smart meter would have to pay for a person to come out and read the old one. Is that right? Says another Jewin, 491. Does the other listener know how many horses the government inherited from Douglas Borough Council when it took over the horse trams, and how many working horses now? Says Andy. Is there a breeding programme for the horses? No chance of any free steam packets, says Fran. No, Fran knows. Crikey, Fran, you're on the inside for absolutely everything, Fran. Well, certainly for the skeet as well. It's okay talking about giving away free tickets for the steam packet, but what about plugging some of the gaps in the health, which require money to keep out healthcare running? Are we an area needing financial support? We need to use the money wisely to fix the problem. We have to prevent tax increases, says 146. Well, if you think you can get any of that £11.1 million profit that the steam packets made anywhere near Manxcare, texter 146, then I've got a piece of land I can sell you 2 miles west of Derby in the sea. A note in all... Thank you. The report on the cash and how government commissioned Grant Thornton identified agriculture as an industry that tends to prefer cash. Is that true? And planning on the release of the COVID EG has been going on for years, apparently. I don't trust the WHO. I don't trust NATO. I don't trust the UK government. Crystal, who do you trust? I see no proper notice of the signs that have gone up between Kirkmichael and Ballaugh restricting speed limits once again to 50 miles an hour in anticipation of the NGP. So the limits have gone up between Kirkmichael and Ballaugh. Are they legally enforceable? They should either not be up or they should be covered until the relevant order comes into effect. And apparently the relevant order doesn't come into effect until the 18th of August at 6 a.m. So is this just a case of making life easier for the DOI rather than having regard for the tax-paying road user? We suffer enough disruption as it is without people not adhering to legal requirements, says a motorist in the north. Thank you for that, Mr. Motorist. It's come to my attention, by the way, following a call on Mannin Line regarding the proposal to restrict vehicles over 1.87 metres or 5.5 metre length from parking in speed-restricted areas. I understand, says Sam, the intention is to target long-parked motorhomes and other such vehicles. My concern is this will also inadvertently drag self-employed people, particularly builders, into the net. Is it honestly proposed that a builder is out there trying to make a living during the cost of living crisis, struggling with increases in fuel and materials, and now we're saying at the end of the day he can't park at home? The builder may have to park who knows where, far away from home, pay for the privilege and potentially spend more money commuting to wherever he can park, thereby adding to the cost of increasing costs, and also that'll be passed on to the consumer. I've got one of the smallest vans you can get. It's a short wheelbase and small height, and I'm still well over 1.87 metres. I would even suppose that anybody who owns a 4x4 is also caught. So no owning a Land Rover or other vehicle either. Will there be some sort of permit scheme to exempt those who genuinely are parking at home at evening and going to work the following day in a vehicle over these limits? I think, says Sam, more details need to be provided and should be released for consultation to the public, and perhaps a rethink in order to target the correct problem and not drag builders into this. Well, at the moment, Sam, the proposal has gone to the local authorities, and they've had a letter from the Department of Infrastructure just to see which roads they think it should go to. So we'll see. We'll see exactly what happens. Thank you to Lucy, who dropped a note in and said, I've been watching the Ipcris File on television. It's good, isn't it? That new version of it with the guy who wasn't he? It's Joe Cole, who was in Peaky Blinders. Joe Cole plays the Michael Caine. And Lucy says, at the end of it, it mentions the Liverpool Film Office. And were you talking about the Liverpool Film Office the other day about them wanting to partner up with the Isle of Man? Yes, I was, Lucy. The Liverpool Film Office has built a small studio in Liverpool, and they put a lot of money into, as we used to put money into films and the production of television and films, and obviously get some money back from that via their investment into the production itself, but also for location work that provides casual labour, money, and the positions where they can get remuneration. So if you look at it, and it's actually some of the Ipcris File was actually shot on the Wirral, of all places, and I think in Liverpool. And certainly Peaky Blinders was, some of that was shot in Liverpool as well. So if you're watching Ipcris File, look at the ends, and you can see where Liverpool comes into it. They do want to partner with the Isle of Man. They want to use the Isle of Man as a location, and we were used as locations for many, many years. But, of course, the Isle of Man Film Commission is now long gone. And here's a note in the steam packet company profits are interesting. Over what period of time is the cost of the new vessel written off, and is the landing stage cost going to rise significantly when the new one comes online? When the new boat comes on, I don't think the cost of the landing stage I don't think it's anything to do with the steam packet. The landing stage comes under Department of Infrastructure. Steam Packet is its own entity, of course, owned by us in the end. I'm depressed, says Ian. Hello, Ian. Don't get depressed. Listening's made me even more depressed about the state of the Isle of Man. MHKs and senior civil servants are making decisions to suit their own agendas. Give no thought to us, how it affects anybody else. We're on a long and winding road to the bottom, where the decision makers don't care about the rest of us. Oh, Ian, come on, cheer up. We'll be absolutely fine. It's going to be great. It's the Isle of Man. Everything works out in the end on the Isle of Man. You know that, and I know that. It'll be absolutely fine. Will it? I'm sure it will be. The good news is they've confirmed the schedule for next year. The TT schedule for next year is out, and if you want to be cheered up, Rob Pritchard will cheer you up with the TT schedule. What do you think, Rob?
TT 2024 will begin on Bank Holiday Monday, the 27th of May, and run through until Saturday, the 8th of June. The racing fortnight will begin on the Monday with a free practice, followed by the first qualifying session the same day. Evening qualifying will then take place on the following 3 days, with the final qualifying slot during the afternoon of Friday the 31st of May. The first 2 race days will then take place on Saturday and Sunday the 1st and 2nd of June, with the first day seeing the Supersport TT Race 1 and Sidecar TT Race 1, with the Superbike race being held the following day. A rest day on Monday the 3rd of June will then be followed by 2 more double-header race days on the Tuesday and Wednesday the 4th and 5th of June. On Tuesday will be the Super Stock TT Race 1 and Super Twin TT Race 1. The day after will feature the Supersport TT Race 2 and Sidecar TT Race 2. 2. A further rest day on Thursday the 6th of June will then be followed by 2 more races on Friday the 7th of June, which will remain an Isle of Man bank holiday. During that Friday will be the Superstock TT Race 2 and Super Twin TT Race 2. The 2-week schedule is then due to conclude on Saturday the 8th of June with the Senior TT Race. Exact times for sessions on each day are still to be confirmed, and all are subject to road closure approval by the Department of Infrastructure.
There we are. You feel better now? Baz says, Andy, how do you uncover all the signs at 6 a.m? If the DOI pay overtime to the staff to do this, the public will moan. Haters are going to hate. Everybody gets more depressing when the haters are against us. What happens to it's nice to be nice? Lots of experts who think they can do better. DOI Baz. Thank you, Baz. That's cheered us all up. If it's cheaper, then the Manx government don't want it. As long as they can waste an absurd amount of taxpayers' money. Some civil servants seem to think money grows on trees. It's Fred's opinion, by the way, about where we are. Thank you to, it's Hillary, isn't it? Hillary said, where's this sewage thing going on? Oh, you want to spot this. The sewage treatment exhibition. It's going to be a doozy. This is the Centenary Centre in Peel till 7 o'clock tonight, and then businesses by invitation from 7 till 8. And tomorrow, 10 till 3, the Regional Sewage Treatment Exhibition in Peel. Of course, in the end, it's a very serious subject, and I hope you go today and figure it all out. Just regarding the Liverpool Film Office, I've just had a couple of questions about, is it true about them wanting to buddy up with us? The media community on the Isle of Man has been invited with representatives from the government to visit the Liverpool Film Office facilities. This is all because Lucy noticed that at the back of the IPCRIS file it says it's the Liverpool Film Office are involved in this. The LFO, the Liverpool Film Office, is one of the oldest film offices in the UK, and it's grown the sector dramatically over the 30 years it's been doing it. The LFO is keen for the Isle of Man to be allied with it as a production and location offering. Liverpool has been the production site of all 6 episodes of Peaky Blinders. Batman was partially filmed in Liverpool, Mission Impossible, and hundreds of other feature films. There's also currently a 6-episode television series. This is interesting. A 6-episode television series which is set in Liverpool and the Isle of Man, and a group of island-based business investors have funded the development. The production company will ultimately make the series, are a AAA-rated UK production company, and have already received expressions of interest in the series from a UK national broadcaster. The series will be predominantly set in the Isle of Man, and the amount of shooting that takes place, that's film shooting, by the way, will entirely depend on the competitive incentives that are available. And that's what it's all down to, the competitive incentives. We used to have it. The Isle of Man Film Commission got lots of films and TV programmes made on the Isle of Man. Do you think it's time to rethink it? Put some public money into it? There's the key. Right, thanks to Howie and Chris on the phones today. Back tomorrow, net zero.
WINT